The news now in detail. My name is Annie Ifwa Ampofo. Now, the Ghana Publishers Association say it will increase its price of books between 30 to 40% starting from June this year. According to the association, the imposition of VAT on imported books and other government policies are negatively affecting their businesses.
At a press conference in Accra, the Ghana Publishers Association urged government to initiate stakeholders' engagement to resolve pertinent issues affecting the industry. The association said until such conversation is initiated, it has no options but to increase prices of books between 30 to 40% starting from June this year.
Taxes on printing inputs, which are all imported, have not been removed and has to be removed. For instance, paper and other printing inputs have been affected by the foreign exchange instability and taxes. Credit for the purchase of printing inputs, which are all imported, should be favorable. If we are all thinking about Ghana, then dialogue and consultations will have to be the anchor of government's relationship with business. Until such conversation is initiated, we have no option but to increase price of books. Starting from June, prices will go up between 30 to 40%. This decision was not easy to make considering the difficult challenges businesses and the citizens are faced with. We therefore seek the understanding of Ghanaians as we have to protect our businesses from collapse.
The Ghana Publishers Association is calling for the withdrawal of the book assessment and approval role granted to the National Council for Curriculum and Assessment based on its inability to trust the group as an independent and transparent regulator.
In 2002, the Textbook Development Distribution Policy, which was to act as a blueprint for the development of the book industry, clearly acknowledged that it is only the private sector under a liberalized system that can promote the Ghanaian book industry and help situate reading, literacy, and education in Ghana. With no competition, the country becomes highly exposed to manipulation through price adjustments and inefficiencies. Sadly, this condition is being imposed on us, and it could disrupt the publishing ecosystem in the country. We are asking the Ministry of Education to disclose its intentions, and if it is about creating monopoly, to reverse this adventure forthwith. It is uneconomical, unnecessary, and a diversionary approach.
The association therefore called on Parliament to work with the industry to find a place to anchor the assessment process. The association revealed that the ministry has been unable to pay for textbooks ordered from publishers under the standard-based curriculum, totaling about 320,000 Ghana cedis.
Let's go into the phone lines now and speak with the Senior Programs Officer at Africa Education Watch, Divine Bay. Divine, you're welcome. Good afternoon to you.
Good afternoon, and thanks for having me.
Right, thank you for your time. Have you been in the field, to listen to the cry of both parents and students on these things that the Ghana publishers are talking about going to school, and now what we are faced with, 30% and 40% increment on textbooks?
Yeah, it's such a sad news to the education sector. And that's a huge increment we are hearing of. But it's a saying that if you cry for the hen, you should also cry for the hawk, because the publishers must also remain in business. We know the cost of doing business these days is becoming so high, so we can't fault them if they want to increase prices of their goods and services. It's very unfortunate. For me, I know it's going to have a lot of implications for the education sector, especially the basic education level. We are talking about a new curriculum that was started about 4 years ago, and as we speak, not half of the books that are required in the schools, the primary level, not half of the books that are required are available. And then if you move to the junior high school, not even single book is made available on the core common program. And next academic year, we are starting a new curriculum at the senior high school level. I know government has initiated a process of distributing tablets where textbooks could be uploaded, but there's also ongoing discussion to get some hard copies of the textbooks also at the senior high school level when a new curriculum implementation starts. So it tells you that the cost of purchase of books for school is going to be high, and therefore solving the textbook deficits across the various levels of the basic education subsector, we are not going to see an end to it anytime soon. Even if you look
I was actually going to ask you if that could have been one of the underlying factors why government has failed to provide basic textbooks after changing the curriculum.
You know, the government has not adequately budgeted to procure textbook for the basic education level as far as the new curriculum is concerned. If you look at the last report by the Committee on Education, Parliament Committee on Education, you'd have realized that government is owing textbook suppliers about 225 million Ghana cedis as far as textbook procurement is concerned. And if you look at the 2024 GET Fund formula, only 120 million is allocated to clear the arrears of 225 million. It means government will still be indebted of about 105 million just to clear at the debts, and then they have not even made budget to procure additional one. So this one is just to clear debt, and then after clearing the arrears, you have not even having money to procure additional one. We need more, even more than half of what has been distributed so far to be able to address the deficit. So it's always been an issue of inadequate budgeting, and therefore, if there's going to be an increment, it tells you that government will need even much more of its budgetary allocation to be able to address the situation. And there's the space that we have been crawling over the years since the introduction of the curriculum in 2024. It tells you that with this increment, we are not going to address the deficit anytime soon. So it's very sad.
Is it a matter of where policy makers will advise that government will subsidize their, activities, including printing or publishing of books, or we just should be ready for the worst?
Well, there have to be an intervention, aside the fact that there's a need for government to intervene and procure textbook for the school or to be owned. Even parents who want to buy copies for their words used at home. So aside government's commitment, there's a need for us to lessen the price on the market so that it can be something that is flexible for parents to buy. So the government will need to engage the publishers. There's a need for Ministry of Education to have an engagement with them to see how they can intervene. If the Ministry of Education and Ministry of Finance can come together, maybe they can have a way to ensure that production cost is reduced. If there are tax elements that is increasing their production cost, they can look at it. They have to look at. I think there's a trade-off somewhere if government meets them and have a discussion with them.
Let me just a quick one before you go. Do you think that it will be advisable for the Ghana Publishers Association to think going digital and maybe engaging in that more than just printing of books or importing of books? I mean, it's just one I want to throw in to find out what we can do in reducing costs, because we have to read anyway.
Yes, you're still at the education level, particularly the basic education subsector. You know, that the policy is that there should be a textbook ratio of 1:1.
Right.
So every pupil is required to have an ideal textbook of 1 for their personal use in a classroom. At times, the teachers may decide to give them the textbook to go to the house and be using. So if we are going digital, I'm not sure we'll be able to even meet that ratio. And number two, to be able to implement digital intervention, make digital devices available in the school where the soft copy of the textbooks can be loaded on. I'm not sure it's something that we can pursue in a very short to medium term. Right. It's not something that is viable. So, and not at the basic education level. Secondary school, we are seeing ongoing distribution of tablets, so that can be done at the secondary school level. But basic school, where we are almost hitting over 7 million pupils, I'm not sure it's something that we can do in a very short time.
Fellow Africa Watch Education Divine Pay, I'm grateful for spending some time on this issue. So those of you who like reading, it's not just more money you'll be spending on food, but you have to brace yourself for spending 30 to 40% increment in books provision.